Welcome into PFF HQ. Austin Gayle here with Sam Monson, ready to talk Tampa Bay Buccaneers signing Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, they've basically replaced the second overall pick from way back in 2010 with the third overall pick from way back in 2010. And what's really amazing is when you look at these guys' careers through the lens of PFF, they're two players for whom we have the entirety of their careers graded, locked and loaded in Premium Stats 2.0. You guys can get that yourselves if you have a PFF Elite subscription. But if you dive in, look at their career grades, which we have on the back end. That's not in Premium Stats, it's in our PFF Ultimate system, but we're able to show it to you. They're actually really close. Suh's got a career grade of 89.4, McCoy's at 88.5, so Suh slightly edges McCoy, but in pass rushing terms, McCoy's actually been the superior player. He's got a slightly better PFF pass rushing grade over his career, but really you're talking about the same kind of level of player throughout the entirety of their playing time. To give you some kind of context though, Aaron Donald is up at 95.6 for his career, so a completely different plane to these guys. But you are talking about two extremely productive players that have really been consistently around the same kind of level. It's
wild to see how close they were drafted together and then to see their career grades match up as closely as they are, even pass rush grades. But what Tampa Bay fans want to know is who's better. You know, is Ndamukong Suh going to be able to fill Gerald McCoy's shoes, if not play better than he was in 2019? That's what matters, 2019.
I think they are close, right? There is a couple of areas of concern for McCoy. Last year wasn't the best season of his career by any means. He had just 38 total pressures. That's the lowest total of his career in a healthy season since his rookie season. And one thing that also jumps out when you look at these two guys from a career level, Suh has played around 1,500 more snaps than McCoy since they were both drafted. That's the guts of 2 full seasons when you're talking about interior defensive linemen. We saw last year the Rams employed Suh in this kind of pared down role. He wasn't an every down player anymore. They got to use him a little bit more of a situational type of player, and I think he was a lot better because of that. So if you're looking at kind of durability in a player who you think will be better in 2019, given maybe a reduced role, and a guy who's just got a better history of staying on the field, I think you could make the case that Suh is the better bet in that regard.
And Ndamukong Suh comes in cheaper, which helps the Bucs out a ton. And you look at Ndamukong Suh's career. I remember doing a piece for the Washington Post when he originally signed with the Los Angeles Rams. Very versatile. Played edge defender. He can play 3 technique. He's played 1. And I think when you go to the Buccaneers defensive line, he's easily the best player along that defensive line. Do you see them employing him in a versatile role where he plays multiple techniques in that defense?
I think they could, but I think you hit on the real driving force behind this move. It's the cost-saving measure, right? The Bucs had the least cap room of any team in the NFL. They needed to free up money just to sign their draft class. That's how tight against the salary cap they are. So they get to ship off Gerald McCoy, free up some cap space, bring in Suh, who looks like, at the very minimum, a lateral move, a guy who's going to give you the same kind of production, and they get to do it cheaper and be able to actually sign their draft class. So really that's what it's all about. They had to free up some move or free up some money. They decided losing Gerald McCoy was worth the risk with a guy like Ndamukong Suh out on the open market, and they just got a little bit cheaper.
You can check it off as an upgrade, a win for Tampa Bay, but in a piece we wrote today on Gerald McCoy and how good he's been and potential landing spots on ProFootballFocus.com, drew out some potential landing spots. Seattle Seahawks, Dallas Cowboys, maybe the New England Patriots. Where do you see him falling when all of this sorts out?
Yeah, one factor that we don't really have in the system when it comes to how well Gerald McCoy has played over recent years, it's really only ever been him. You know, Suh went last year, he was alongside Aaron Donald. There's really no way of calculating exactly what kind of impact that has on his production. The Bucs have tried for years to surround McCoy with talent, and they've never been able to do it. They've consistently let the guy down in terms of just surrounding him with quality players. So if he went to a team with some quality defensive talent around him, you may get a much better Gerald McCoy in 2019 than we saw a year ago in 2018. So if he wound up with a team like the Browns, you know, a team like the Texans, the Colts, teams that already have defensive weapons available on the line, you could see a much better player next year. And I think those teams would all be well served to pick him up because he is still productive.
Browns, Myles Garrett, and Gerald McCoy. I like Dallas Cowboys with DeMarcus Lawrence too. I could see that pairing doing really nicely as well. Gerald McCoy still being out there, and Ndamukong Suh signs with the Bucs, which we see as a win for Tampa Bay. This has been Sam Monson and Austin Gayle.